Hello, everybody. Welcome on back to the Taylor Nardone Podcast, but we're not going to waste any time here. Why are you waiting? Why are you holding back? Let's get into it today, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, I have to tell you something. When I film an episode, sometimes these are a little bit spontaneous, sometimes they're planned. I usually sit down and I have an agenda, right? Some topics that I want to cover. And I remember that I had written down a few different topics in the notes section of my phone. And I always joke that, when I get the idea that comes in, I'm in the bread aisle and I have to stop and I write it down in my notes app. And then it's either a video, could be a podcast, something else. But I have to tell you, this one, I forgot that I wrote this down. I was just scrolling in my phone and I had a note written from an evening where I said, the world is waiting on you. And I'm going to say it again. The world is waiting on you. This episode is for those of you out there that are holding back on what you've been given and are convincing yourself that you don't actually have the ability to go off and begin this journey. That you've convinced yourself that you have to wait until all of the pieces line up until you're absolutely perfect to go off and do it. And what you really need to do is get used to failing out loud. That's what you have to do. And we talked about that in a previous episode. I am a believer that God is so beautiful and has so beautifully designed this journey for us to catch up to the gifts we've been given and the posture we're going to hold. He has provided us with the perfect gym, the perfect equipment, all of the things needed to develop us, to get us to become that person, that is going to fulfill one of those beautiful purposes for our lives. And if I could speak to the younger version of me right now who was sitting there back in teaching or back when he was 13, 14 or, whatever it was, wishing he was, publicly singing or wishing he could take that leap of faith, I would say, do it because it's all on you. We've been given the playground to work through the beliefs. We've been given the playground to work through the imposed or the false idea. What is it? The perceived limitations. Why can't I think of the word? The perceived limitations that we think that we have to go off and walk this beautiful journey, and you have no idea what is about to unfold. If the world is waiting on you, then what are you waiting for? If you're waiting for the pieces to line up, if you're waiting for the perfect moment, I'm going to tell you something. It's not going to come. You need to take action. And I'm even going to put aside, we always say take action from the lens of, from personal development, take action, do the thing. I'm going to put that aside for a second. Let's tuck aside the high performance for just a moment here. Step into it. Step into the arena that has been provided for you. And I talked about this earlier this week on one of my pages. I said, at the end of the day, when God shows you an example of what's possible, that's exactly what that is. It is an example of possibility. It is not meant to be an example of what you're not. It's an example of what you can become in your own way to keep you inspired, to keep you moving. Many of these pieces are going to land in your lap, and it's not going to be what you think they are. You're going to be under the impression that it's okay, this is going to be the new box. There is no box. Some pieces are there, and some golden nuggets are dropped just for you to keep on walking. But you have a decision to make. Can you get comfortable failing out loud? Can you get comfortable doing the right thing long enough without seeing the right results that you feel like you deserve? Can you get comfortable doing that long enough so that you build the resilience and you start walking in the proper posture that you've been designed to walk in, and do it long enough to then start to see the results? Because here's the problem. We do something and we don't quite see the results that we desire, and then we stop, and that's when you begin. Next month in the membership, we're talking about pressure. From pressure to power, and how God will put his thumb down on us many times and allow that pressure to come upon us to prune something out of us, or to develop something within us, to prune it out and to develop the resilience needed, the strength. If you don't think your current chapter is some level of preparation for what's to come, then we have to revisit that there. There can always be a level of preparation. We don't know what you're headed into. You may know, but I certainly don't sitting here. But what I will tell you is there are pieces in your life, if we look at them properly, that are developing you to walk into that chapter. What are you waiting on? I want you to stop this video right now, and I want you to go be honest with yourself, and you write down your first step. Be honest with yourself and write that down. Not your A to Z, your A to B. Done. And then the following week, you go B to C. It's scary when we realize we can do it, isn't it? Because you can. But if the world is waiting on you, the world is also waiting for you to step into who you've always been. To not hold back. Look at the fears and do the opposite. Do the opposite. We think it's so difficult sometimes climbing out of it. And as one of my favorite creators, Higher Up Wellness, I think his name is Michael, he says this, he goes, it's not easy, but it is simple. The path is in front of us oftentimes. And we are always being developed, but do we have the courage to take the first step without the armor that we think we need to have? Do we have the courage to do that? And if we don't, well, then something might come and start to shove us there. You can sit and you can dream all day, but you're not meant to stay dreaming. You're meant to move. You're meant to walk. The vision is beautiful. The dream is beautiful. I always picture this beautiful journey as we're walking on this perfectly, paved, brand new concrete path that God has paved for us. And we have the sun, which is God, right up there looking down with our visions and our dreams and all of that, but we still have to walk. So can you get comfortable choosing to wring it dry? Can you get comfortable choosing your heart and recognizing that you can't really bypass anything? You're going to learn the lessons you need to learn. There's nothing that you genuinely can bypass that won't come back around. So if you know that, and if you know you're going to have to choose a hard, and they both are going to be difficult, if you know that, then why not choose the path of optimal, ultimate expansion? If you're going to have low, difficult moments, and then if you're going to have great moments, why pick the route that confines you into a box? You're going to have new challenges that you actually wouldn't have on the brand new path, but they're both going to be challenging. You get to pick your hard. The hard part is that we don't move until we have enough pressure on us. We don't move until the current circumstances or our current chapter is so unsettling. It's only then that we start to move. So how do we tick up the internal pressure within you? I want you to reach out. Book a discovery call, book a one-on-one. Let's have that conversation. Because if you're finding that you desire to move, but you're stopping yourself, there's something there that needs to be changed. And this is possible for you to walk towards. Not in any way that you think. It's not going to look like you think. That's the problem. I think that's a good thing, but that's the problem for us because we go, wait a sec, right? I need to know, I need to have that control. You really don't, actually. You really don't. But get comfortable with making mistakes. Get comfortable with failing out loud. Get comfortable being vulnerable. That's one of the hardest things for those of us that are perfectionists, or if you're a people pleaser, if you feel like you need to have this facade up, I'm going to take a hammer to that facade. We're going to break that down. Because that needs to be broken for you to go off and do this. This is going to require vulnerability, which is a huge strength. And instead of building a wall around you, you are going to be built from within. We need to take down that artificial fake wall outside of you to truly be able to walk and do this. So get used to being vulnerable. Get comfortable starting to flex that muscle of vulnerability. Tell someone you're struggling, show us a failure, and then get up and keep moving. But the world is waiting on you. And God's not waiting there sitting, go disappointed. God is we have the perfect, graceful amount of time. And I believe everything is in beautiful divine time. Everything. But all we're doing is walking up that beautiful mountain to who we've always been designed to be. And once you be it, you've hit the reward. Everything else will start to change outside of you. But once you be it and you own it, you've landed. So I think it's time, don't you? It's time.